Well, hello Sugar Buns, welcome to our IVS video for IVS 2024. Of course, I'm your caster Kuroshiro. For this video, I'll be your caster instead of your content creator for IDV. But we're gonna be, mainly talking about IVS moving on forward. Now, there will be timestamps in the video, and of course, for some of you that might not know, there are new team rosters alongside which new characters being added and new formats in the ban pick. So we'll be talking about this throughout everything. But we'll move on towards the first segment, and that is how to vote. Now, of course, for everyone that knows, please do make sure to subscribe to all the live schedules here because you can get 2,000 apples for free. As you can see, I have done it all here in the subscribe to events. But if we just move on quickly towards, who should we really vote? In the prediction event. So this is how prediction event works. In a nutshell, if you press the rules here, it will say you will get 3 supporting cards in which you can vote for the teams, and that means that you can vote for duplicate teams. Okay, and then the total value of all 3 support cards in the final prediction results will be your total number of golden apples that you will receive. For example, if you have decided that, you want to predict Zeta for all 3 of your prediction, and if Zeta comes into first place, as we do see here, if Zeta comes into first place, then it's 5,000 multiplied by 3. Now, of course, this is still quite a bit of a risky way to play it, which is why most of the times I would recommend players to pick their best 3. But of course, if you want to spice up your life a little bit more, maybe you can try go for the top 2. You can maybe try say, hey, I think Zeta will become first, and then Gior will become second twice, or maybe Gior will become first twice and Zeta will become second. Therefore, in this case scenario, you will get 5,000 plus 4,000 plus 5,000, which is basically 14,000 apples, if you wish to think like that yourself. But if we just think about the maximum you can get, which is you get all of your 3 correct and they're all first place, you get a total of 15k apples. If you get maybe 2 by first places and then by 1 second place, you get a total of 14k apples. But then if you get 1 first place plus 2 second places, you get a total of 13k apples. And of course, if you're gonna go first plus second plus third, you'll get a total of 12k apples because it is 5k plus 4k plus 3k. In this sense as well. So, for most of us in this case scenario, maybe it would be kind of better to do things this way. So the highest you can get is 15,000 apples. And then if you choose your top 3 correctly, the lowest you can get is 12k apples. So my recommendation is either you pick your top best 2. So you pick your top best 2 in which this is the best chance of you actually getting the most apples. And then, or even just pick your best 3, and then you can at least get a minimum of guaranteed 12k apples, which honestly speaking isn't bad depending on how much you have right now. But then let's move on towards the new changes in team roster. We'll be starting off from the bottom right to the top left, in which Southeast Asia FT will be be introduced first here. So for FT, they've done relatively well in their IVCs, and for FT right now, they have recruited 2 new players from second place, which is 4AW. So you're going to be able to see 4AW MX here joining FT. So MX will be joining FT alongside with Hessian here. So MX has been known for his lucky guy and his teas, his very, very, very weird pocket picks and painters as well. And then for Hessian as well, it's not actually Sculptor nor Gamekeeper. You have seen his Opera and Ivy multiple times. But of course, from FT Survivor side, you still only have 4 survivors. And of course, with 3 hunters, it might not matter that much. What most likely will happen against is Kuga playing round 1. So Kuga most likely will just play round 1, and you're gonna have Meowpie here playing round 2 and round 3. Hessian seems more like a very sub hunter in this case scenario, in which it might be a little bit harder for them to actually get Hessian to come out. Now, aside from FT, let's go on straight towards GBB, in which they were actually rank 1 in IVT Korea. For GBB, I do think what matters the most is their hunter Sibun, with how well he has, or they have excelled in their IVs and operas. Sibun was one of the very good reasons and, one of the very prime hunters of Korea right now, who has been able to maintainly consist 4Ks over and over and over again. Now, has also been in one of the global tournament before. I'm quite sure in KOA 5 or in KOA 6 we have, no, KOA 4 or KOA 5 we have seen him, alongside with Oniske, who was, who should have been a part of, no, they weren't a part of CAT, they were here during KOA 6, which the other, well, I forgot the name, but it was another Korean team. But like Oniske being the main harasser here, it might not be actually it might actually not be too favorable for Oniske because of IV and Opera. Now, Batter isn't that much of a bad character, but he has been enough, so there's something we need to consider in that case scenario too. But for GBB's club member wise, we've only one main hunter here, as you do see. But of course, with two veteran survivors here of Oniske and Noah, they might be able to pull something out from their back pocket or even their trump card. But for currently Moa and Saida right now, I don't really see them shine too much. Maybe it's because they don't have maybe it's because they didn't have the space to shine, or just they played as conservatively as possible to guarantee their first place. But for GBB right now, I do think the three main characters here will be Now, Oniske, and Sibu. Now, I haven't seen Now in a while. I honestly haven't seen Now in a while, so I do think it's mainly seeing, okay, can Now help Oniske direct the team, or will Oniske be doing this himself once again? But of course, Sibu, we're gonna have to see how well he fares against the overseas players and the international players in general. Next will be Rival from NAEU. Of course, for us, NAEU GAN, Rival will, be going against Zeta first, as you can see as well, the light of NAEU as their logo. For now, for our club members, I think we all know who they are, as we do have Ingling here coming out from CN server. I think he went to NAEU to study for college, but Ingling is a part of Rival, but he has been a part of Rival for like 2/3 seasons now, but like I don't think Rivals would necessarily speaking let Ingling come out to play, so it will still be our main four characters here of Schmitty, Roland, Myleg, and Paul Blums. Of course, from Schmitty's point of view, he does excel really well in Acrobat. I think his Acrobat was one of the main highlights for KOA as well. And of course, you do have Roland as well, which is Gravekeeper containment against Ang-E, or was it Alekas's Bomb, which was really good. Now with Myleg, we have seen him play Composer against Nayid, which is TE's Pepe's Nayid. Yes, it didn't go well, but Composer being played out a little bit more, I do think it's because of the current day meta. Ivy, maybe he can shine just a tiny bit more. And for Paul Blums is kind of like a main support type character. He's like a jack of all trades, but master of none, but he can't get the job done. And of course, our strongest hunter in NAEU is going to be Sprinter here from Rival. Now, Anton is a sub-hunter main as well, but this guy is a coach for the survivors in general. And of course, you cannot forget about Aaron as well, who is a coach overall for, the team of Rival. But aside from that, from what I think right now is Rival does have quite a nice chance. Let's be honest, Rival does have quite a nice chance of beating a CN team because they have shown it before, but they didn't show any prowess here in going against any JP teams. So right now, the biggest question is, how can we avenge ourselves from Zeta? Or will we just move on towards the lower brackets instead and maybe go against an CN team, which is either WBG or GR? But honestly speaking, for Rival to go up against, two of the main major region teams, it's a little bit unfortunate because, if Rival went against FT, if Rival went against GBB or even RD, maybe it could have been a tiny bit more different, and we should have been able to garner more games from them. But of course, aside from Rival, next will be RD. RD has the biggest changes in their roster, because currently speaking, they have Lati as their main hunter right now. So Lati took a break from IJL, and then now he's moving in towards HMT region to play for ORD. Realistically speaking, getting a hunter import doesn't matter that much, because if it's a survivor import, you need time to mix and match together, but if it's a hunter import, it's a whole different story. For ORD side, do you currently now have Xiao as a survivor? I think this guy's a sub. Xiao should be a sub. He was playing hunter for Koa during the group stages, so I don't think we're necessarily gonna get Xiao out as a survivor. So you're just gonna have your main four rosters again: Zheng Kai, Huan Xie, Pin, and Wen Yi. I also don't think Sai will be coming out. But I feel like for ORD right now, even with the addition of to be fair, this is like, okay, I'll be honest. I read a comment that says that for HMT, ORD had an import hunter, and now for IVS they also had an import hunter. I'm not trying to stay anti, but I'm just saying, yes, even if you do have an import hunter, which will greatly increase your strength in the team, but if your survivors don't perform well, it's a whole different issue. For me, currently, the biggest issue with ORD isn't how well they're I know, yes, it's currently a 100 meta because of IV and Opera, but there will be buffs and nerfs. We'll talk about that later. But right now, the biggest issue for ORD is their survivors are pretty weak. Their survivors, honestly speaking, are pretty weak, to the point that sometimes I do kind of doubt that FT and Rival are actually better than them, right? I sometimes do doubt that. I think FT is better than ORD. I also do think that Rival is better than ORD, because no matter what you do, no matter what you do, right? If you see in the HMT finals that I've casted, it's just many back and forth, 4Ks until the last game, in which you 3-man escaped an An. And I'll be honest with you, 3-man escaping an An after multiple 4Ks is not too impressive, because the hunter is bound to get tired. So like, you can't, for ORD right now, if they want to rise, you can't rely on the hunter that much. Yes, Lati has Bloody Queen, Geisha has Opera, but does Lati have Ivy? Lati plays like a really big range of characters, but I don't know if Lati has the Ivy or not. So right now, Lati is golden. By himself, Lati is golden. But for the survivors currently, are we going to be able to take the pressure off of our hunter is now the biggest, it's the biggest factor. Because I feel like for ORD right now, if they can perform well as the survivor, that's all what they need to do. That's all what they need to do to prove themselves. Or if this ends up the same as HMT, then we might have a small bit of an issue with this roster for ORD. But of course, that's that for ORD's roster. Now, of course, next will be FL. FL had a really good fight, let's say, against RC, in which they were able to make it second place and, of course, to make it into IVS. But for FL, they didn't change their roster at all, in which you still have the 4 main characters and the 2 main hunters, in which I will say Hasha most likely will be coming out a lot of times anyways. Hasha, Shadow, and Opera Singer are still very good. We cannot forget about that. Hasha does have a Dream Witch, does have an Bloody Queen, does have multiple different options here when it comes to, you know, playing the hunter. And of course, for FL survivors, let's just be fully honest with ourselves, they're pretty golden too. So like, they're a good, strong survivor team. Yes, they may be forced during the regular season plays, but they did manage to be RC to become second. Now, will PB Chat come out? I don't think so. I think PB Chat is more of a sub hunter here, because he mainly plays off meta characters that will catch you off guard, unless he is planning to practice some Ivy and Opera, but that's not what I've seen during the previous Koa, which is Koa 5 and 6, I'm quite sure, yes. But because of, I think a really good thing that IJL has, is their Bloody Queen, because then they can fully negate the Painter from IVL. They can fully negate Painter from both FT and WBG. And I think this is a really good thing when it comes to Hasha as well. Hasha's Bloody Queen will be able to fully counter that Painter play and that Embalmer play, right? So right now we're just trying to think, okay, if you decide to pick Painter out during the later rounds, I'll just pick Bloody Queen anyways. So like maybe for IVS this year, you're only going to be able to see Painter once out of the maybe 2, 3, 4 times during the playoff stages. But I do think, right, there's nothing much to say for FL, especially how well they performed in IJL. Yes, they may have lost against Zeta, but they still did come in second. So they're still pretty golden. They didn't do that much of a roster change, so there's not much to say about them. And Zeta being the first place in IJL. The thing about Zeta is they are an international, they are, how do I say this? They are a national treasure, but they are yearning for an international trophy. Right now, Alf is definitely due a trophy. As much as a, how do I say this? I may be supporting CN half/most of the times, but I do think Alf deserves a trophy sooner or later. Because for Alf right now, he's one of the most hardworking hunters that keeps up in the meta. We all know his hunter pool. Last IVS, his Bomba was the most scariest thing against the batter. So Alf will be able to counter Onisuke's batter pretty well. And then you, of course, Dolisu, Hamato, Kazunako, and Shinami here being the 4 main survivors of this team comp. I do think the addition of Hamato has brought the prowess of Zeta up quite a lot. Kazuneko still being Kazuneko is fine, but then this Prospector nerf will not come true for Zeta, so it's fine. They can still play Prospector. Shinami is one of the main shot callers of IJL, if I am not wrong, as I heard from some random source. Someone just said it, and I was like, oh really? Damn. That's why Scars has been doing so bad, eh? Side eye. But aside from that, really, it's just. They are who they are. I don't think we need to do much. I kind of just wanted to say, hey, look, Alpha is kind of due one, and I do think with Zeta still maintaining the current same team, they have a really good chance of winning. I would say Zeta should be able to come up in top 3 no matter what, unless they lose against any other international team once again, because that is kind of Zeta's curse currently. Next will be Gior. Gior is one of the most, I would say, funnest teams that we can actually talk about as well. We have the addition of Iron coming back, which I do think is really good. Iron left because of wrist injury, so he needed a 1 season break due to wrist injuries, or else he won't be able to play ever again. As we do know as well, Iron has been a really long veteran player in this match as well, and he has been reunited with Gior AK as well, because they were together in FPX ZQ. So I think these two will work really well with each other. From Gior's side, I'm quite sure AK will be a part of, so AK will be main roster, Heart will be main roster as the main rescuer. Currently you do have Xmail and Atso right now. We might put Xmail on bench. Realistically speaking, we might put Xmail on bench and put Atso out alongside with Iron. I'm not saying Xmail is bad, I'm just saying Fire Investigator works more right now than Acrobat and Aeroplanist. I know Xmail plays a little bit more, but Atso also has a prisoner that he can throw out to go against the IV2. So like from what I think, right, the main 4 roster is going to be Jor, AK, Iron, Atsa, and Harsh, alongside with Xmail here being the sub-survivor. Now, if they decide to add Iron and not play Iron, of course, the main roster will still beat this 4, as they did make it towards 2nd place. The survivors are still really good, but Nini is currently the most improved hunter right now, so I don't think this Jing will come out for their sub-hunter in a nutshell. Now, GR did come in 2nd place in IVL when facing up against WBG. We're going to be able to see them matching up against each other next Thursday once again. Let's just see how it will go, whether WBG will be able to get their revenge or GR will be able to push forward. But of course, last but not least, WBG. TLDR 1K has been terminated, disconnected. 1K has been disconnected in a nutshell. So right now for WBG, you have only your 1 hunter and then 4 other survivors. TL4DR for WBG is their coach left. Their coach left, and then they were left with a sub coach. So I'm quite sure they're a little bit low on assets right now, which is the best way I can say it. Therefore, you know, I guess they're only trying to nurture the 5 talents they have and see how well they can pull it off. In a nutshell, you know what, everyone did pretty well, moving on to from very lower bracket 6th place, if I'm not wrong, to 3rd place. That's honestly speaking really good. Alongside with beating FBXEQ as well. But that's that for character introduction. Okay, The next big segment is IVS changes. So we'll be mainly talking about the IVS changes here. With me, I'll be able to draw it out with you here with my pen and technology, with my tablet and pen. But IVS changes, one big major change is the ban pick change. In currently ban pick phase right now, there is going to be, we're going to move from 2 permaban per round. So from 2 permaban up to 3 permaban. So the first 3 picks of each round right now will be perma-banned. So that is our currently ban pick phase. Instead of 2 permabans, there will be 3 permabans, in which this suits the hunter quite a lot, especially when moving on towards game 3 as well. In a nutshell, we're gonna see how. In a nutshell, this is a little bit more hunter-sided. Even though there's a lot of survivors, this does suit hunters quite a bit. The next part is character introduction. There's a new character that will be added, and that is called Pharaoh Lady. Pharaoh Lady will be added here for our IVS 2024. But one of the biggest thing right now is this is before the buffs and nerfs of season 33. Right, so this is before the Prospector nerf, this is before the Pharaoh Lady, Puppeteer and Mechanic buff. Therefore, Pharaoh Lady might not be used as much, just so everyone can keep this in mind as well. Now then, on towards the final part of this video, because all of you know that I do quite extensive lawn and explain to you guys why I think these guys are going to come first, second or third. We're here now. we're currently here in the tournaments bracket. So here is my predictions. First and foremost, in match 1, you're going to be able to see RVL versus Zeta right here. But the issue with RVL versus Zeta is most likely because of the fact that Zeta is much more stronger compared to RVL, sadly. So RVL will be moving on towards Zeta will be moving on forward to face off against RVL. So we're going to say Zeta here will move on towards upper brackets of round 2, and then RVL will move on towards match 1 loss, in which they are currently here. So this is rival. Now for our match 2, it's going to be GR versus WBG. If we go by technicality here, let's just say GR wins this one and WBG lose, and WBG moves down. WBG will be facing up against rival. To be honest with you, yes, I do know rival survivors are good, rivals hunters are good, but Schmitty has not Schmitty, sorry. Spencer has not played Ivy. Yes. We don't know if Schmitty ever played Ivy. But the biggest chances, if we're going to be honest, between rival versus WBG right now is going to be WBG winning and moving on towards the lower brackets round 2 if they win. And of course, GR versus Zeta, we just won't talk about that just yet. That's another time, not now. Ordi versus GBB, Ordi will win. Ordi will win here because of our import hunter. Because no matter how well GBB, if GBB hunter can maintain back-to-back 4-man eliminations, that's great. But I feel like for Ordi right now, they most likely will get Laddie out as a first character to be played. And of course, as the first character to be played, it's more or less likely that he's going to be able to get a 4K and Ordi can just play really safe for a tie. So I do believe Ordi has more of a chance of winning compared to GBB currently. So GBB will be moving on towards the lower brackets. Is that pen a little bit hard to read? That pen is a little bit hard to read, isn't it? Okay, we'll change to green, sorry. We'll change to green. So this is Zeta. This is GR. This is RD. WBG. WBG. GBB, and then rival, in which they get eliminated on the bottom. Now next will be FL versus FT. If we're going to be fully honest with ourselves, I do think FL will most likely win, so FT will be moving on towards the lower brackets, and you should be able to see FL going up against RD, and then GBB versus FT. Personally speaking, I think FT has more of a chance of winning. I personally do think FT has more of a chance of winning right here, so we'll move on towards max 6 win of FT winning, and then we'll just calculate the rest down here later. Okay, moving on towards our next slide, Zeta versus GR. This is a little bit hard. This is honestly speaking a little bit hard. But if I'm gonna go by what happened before, Zeta did beat GR before, I won't lie. Zeta did beat GR before in IVS 2 years ago, but now this is a completely different roster team. And I do think Nini, if Nini perform, the thing is, it's Nini's first time performing in global stage. Well, not first time using co-op, but like his first time performing properly after his training. But then Zeta, it's a bit hard, but I'm gonna say Gior has a higher chance of winning. So match 7 win will be Gior, and Zeta moves down lower. So Zeta will be match. This is match 7, right? Match 1, match 2, match 3, match 4, 5, 6, 7. So so like, listen, let's be honest. No matter who moves down here, Gior or Zeta, they'll most likely win against FT. They'll most likely win against FT. So Zeta will move on forward here. So Zeta is here. But then for our next one right now, Ordi versus FL. FL will most likely win. So FL is kind of guaranteed in their bracket. So FL is guaranteed in their brackets to move on towards upper finals here. So FL is currently guaranteed top 4. FL is currently guaranteed top 4. No matter what happens here, FL is currently guaranteed top 4. Okay, and let's just say for the sake of it, Gior moves on here. FL is down here. Okay, so Gior, so FL is guaranteed top 4. But then also at the same time, like, it's really hard. Because, like, you have your top 2 teams that are going to move down towards the bottom. And, you know, at least we know FL is top 4. So if you want to vote for FL, I think FL gives you 4K. So 4 by 3 is... not 4 by 3. FL gives you 2K. 2 by 3 is 6K golden apples. It's not a lot, so... But then if you want that guarantee 4th place, you can choose FL to win. And then when we talked about it too as well, right? Ordi will move down. Ordi versus WBG. WBG should be winning. WBG should be winning. WBG should be winning. Okay. So in this case scenario, in WBG versus Zeta, only one of them will be able to move up. No, wait a second. FL is top 3. Hold on a second. FL is top 3. Okay. So WBG versus Zeta. This could have been WBG versus Gior as well. Oh wow, this is actually really hard. This is actually really hard. If it's WBG versus Zeta, I'm more reliant for WBG to win, but I do think Zeta will, like, Zeta versus WBG is just too hard. So like, honest speed to God, right? If we get this right now, honest speed to God right now. In this case scenario, where it is WBG versus Zeta, this is up to you guys. It's not up to me anymore. It's really not up to me anymore. FL is guaranteed top 3 no matter what, because of how good their roster is. FL goes against FT, FL wins. FL goes against any of these 2 minor regions, FL wins. FL goes up against Gior. If FL loses, it's fine. If FL loses, it's fine. It's still guaranteed 3rd place no matter what. Because whoever FL fights up against, if FL versus WBG and if FL loses, FL is still 3rd. Right, so FL is guaranteed 3rd place right now. Wow, this is a little bit harder than I thought it would be. Okay. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. But at least now everyone knows that FL is guaranteed top 3 for this IVS no matter what happens. WBG versus Gior is just so sad. Can WBG beat Zeta is the main question. Can WBG Alekasa versus Alf? It's Alekasa versus Alf again. Juan versus Zeta. But I don't know if Hui, Persica, and Lon... Well, Lon... I don't know if Lon can handle this too. I'm thinking really hard right now. But if we're gonna be honest with ourselves, right now, you need to vote for FL no matter what. And then between Gior and Zeta, you can do this. You can do Gior, Zeta, and FL. You can do Gior, Zeta, and FL. Right now, this is the most likely top 3 contenders. Because, like, even if Zeta loses here, Zeta is 4th. Even WBG loses his 4th as well. Oh, this is so hard. This is so hard. I don't think Gior will lose to WBG. I won't lie, especially with Iron as well. I don't think Gior will lose. But this is all what I'm gonna give you for today. Thank you everyone for watching. Of course, it's a little bit of a cliffhanger, but it's up to you to think now how to move on from here on forward. And that's a good thing about the prediction event too. But I'll see y'all next video. Bye bye for now. Now, of course, for the most important part of the video that I almost forgot to add in, prediction event, who are you gonna predict? We just went through how the brackets will work, so of course, as we said as well, FL is guaranteed third place no matter what happens here. And now it's just a battle between Zeta and G, or well, Zeta, GR and WBG. So right now you need to think. It's currently Zeta. Oh wait, hold on my pen. It's currently Zeta, GR, and then WBG. It's currently these three teams. As much as I said Zeta is due a crown, I'm putting WBG in. Sorry, I'm putting WBG in. And of course, as everyone knows as well, third place is 3k. So if you vote for FL, you can get a guarantee of 9k. That you cannot read that. That's illegible. If you vote Zeta FL 3 times, you get a guarantee of 9k. And then I just feel like no matter who you vote here, you should choose, like, FL is a guaranteed choose, and then you need to pick two between WBG. Pick two between WBG, Zeta, and GR. But as I said as well, right before we ended, your picks are what matters the most, not mine. But I'm just saying FL, you need to pick FL. You genuinely need to pick FL no matter what. They're guaranteed third place. They're actually guaranteed third place right now. So that's the end of today's video. Thank you everyone for watching. Bye for now once again.